And I told you guys, I don't know if it's out yet, but the Popeye,
All right,
there's
that's what I was thinking
Mm.
of.
I am. Why are you doing this? I am what I am. I mean,
Hmm.
that's some good writing there.
Aaron, do me a favor. Say the sailor's name again.
Popeye. You wanted me to say Popeye?
You overpronounced it the second time. You said
Yeah.
Popeye the first time.
Yeah, I say
I've
Popeye.
I've always said Popeye. I wonder if that's a Michigan thing because Nikki gives me all kinds of grief for it. She's like, "Did you just say Popeye?" And I was like, "Yeah, the Sailor Man."
What about the colored wax sticks that you color with?
Uh,
Oh, dude,
I like that.
I
What
had
what
no idea I had to like disown my family, like my wife and kids. It's a crayon.
Oh, not where I
it's
came
a
from. It's a
crayon.
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 No,
There's
that's
definitely
so
a
It's a
messed
Y
up.
in
crayon.
there. There's definitely a Y in there.
Yep, and
Yes.
you don't have to pronounce it.
That's right.
Now that I think about it, I'd probably well, I'll just
There's
say it,
a
crayon. I say
You
crayon
say
too. So,
crayon.
so I don't pronounce the Y that I just said is in there. Sorry, Ryan.
yeah.
This might end up being our most controversial podcast yet.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Feel free to email in and let us know how we're pronouncing things incorrectly.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BTB Movie Club podcast. My name is Aaron Lashbrook. We hope you enjoy today's movie discussion. Thank you for listening.
Welcome to the BTB Movie Club. My name is Tim Larson here with friends to talk about 2014's Whiplash, picked by Matt Smith, then told he could not pick it, then picked by Aaron Lashbrook. So Aaron will be leading this conversation in Matt's time slot. Movie number 223. The movie is Whiplash. Aaron, take it away.
Um, I don't have any big data to go with or any super reason why I wanted to see it. It had come up, it had done well, it got a big push, for um, what do you want to say, marketing. So I saw it a lot um, as far as commercials, trying to get me to go see it, and I just never got around to it. And it had come up, and the whole Matt thing, and then it had come up again where we had picked we went with a different set of rules for how we had to pick, and it was suggested by one of my other movies, and it came down to it. When it came down to the wire, the other movie won out. So I just felt it was time. I felt
It was
that I
time.
needed to do this for the group, get it out of the way, and have us all just watch Whiplash.
And I would say perfect timing, if I may.
I think it worked out well.
Yeah. Matt was
And
ahead of the beat.
I was rushing.
You're rushing.
I was
Yep.
rushing.
But yeah, like I said, I've got no specific reason. Let's head count who had seen it before this watch. So we
This is the
got
third time.
okay. So we got three had seen it, four virgins, um, counting myself, as a whiplash virgin. Um, let's go with Matt. I'm going to go with you.
There's no way that was a spur of the moment decision. You've been
Yeah.
waiting
Oh, 100%.
for 2 weeks to do that.
Yes. All right. Well, great pick, Aaron. Wish
Thanks,
I would have
Matt.
made it. Um, no, this is the first time I've seen the whole thing. Funny enough, I've seen so much of it on like social media, that I had seen some of the, you know, maybe some of the lines and some of the parts, but seeing it all the way through, obviously a better experience. Really enjoyed the way they filmed this. Um, it basically, if I'm not mistaken, is almost, if not almost, it might all be from like it's Andrew the whole time, right? There's no scene without an Andrew. Does that
Right. He's in
sound
every
right?
scene. Yes.
Yeah. So I think I like that style. I like, um, it's dangerous, right? Because you have this movie going on and you have a character that never leaves the screen. That could be dangerous, but he's pretty starts out as a pretty likable kid. And then as he meets Fletcher, he obviously starts, I don't know if it was in him already because we don't know anything about him before this started, but he kind of starts definitely kind of emulating him, kind of getting that attitude, sort of that, and for whatever reason. But yeah, and J.K. Simmons does great. He won, right? He won Best Supporting, so he definitely deserved it. Music was obviously good. I didn't realize Miles Teller was
Teller.
a drummer.
Yep.
And it sounds like they used not a ton of stuff, but some of the stuff he did, they actually did use some of those shots because he could do some of the more basic stuff, which is great. And it's an interesting story because Terrence Fletcher is a terrible person. Clearly, he does not do things the way one should do things. But unfortunately, he also makes a point at some point in the movie of sometimes the worst two words you can tell someone is good job. And that is a current problem in society is everybody gets told you did a good job even when they didn't. Um, he just took it to the nth degree way too far. There's a line. He didn't think there was a line. Because he even said that in the movie, right? He's like, I'm never gonna apologize for how I did it. This is how you get greatness out of people. Like he even at the end of the movie, even after losing his teaching job or conducting job, he wasn't teaching anything. He was just he was just any moron standing up there waving his arms, as he said. Even after that, he still didn't get it, like clearly to the point of the little scam at the end try to ruin Andrew's career basically. But it's unfortunate because he had some good aspirations there trying to get the best out of people. That's what you should do as a teacher and a mentor, and you should try to get the best out of people. He just did not understand why his methods were wrong. um Clearly probably some frustration of missed opportunities for himself. That's the kind of read I get on that guy. Clearly he missed out on something in his life. He was quote unquote stuck being this conductor at this school. He wasn't doing his own thing. Um, yeah. So I really liked the movie. I liked the story. I liked the kind of the theme, the moral, if you will. And I hate it. I both hate and love that. I hate Fletcher as a character, and I know a lot of people in that were in band and things, and this isn't uncommon for band directors and conductors to be a little bit over the top like this. Obviously, not to this extreme. That's not normal, um, but I hate that he makes such a good point, but yet he's such a jag while he's doing it. So I kind of like that as a movie, though. It kind of makes me like go, ugh, this guy's terrible, but man, he's got a really good point. Um, and if he would have just toned it down a little bit, he probably could have gotten more out of his students. Again, I'm calling him a teacher is a that's a far stretch for me, but I understand he was a conductor at a school, so I guess he kind of was a teacher. Um, yeah, so it was good. It was good stuff. Some funny quotes, whether they be appropriate or not, I won't repeat them all. Um, one of my favorites is actually when the three of them they're drumming till 2 in the morning or whatever, trying to see who's going to play the part, and the guy adjusts the seat, and he goes, "Oh, it was the seat. That was the problem the whole time, the seat height." I just laughed out loud when he said
Hmm.
that, and then the travel receipts because I don't know why that made me giggle. But I was like, keep your travel receipts or don't. I don't care. Whatever. So yeah. So J.K. Simmons played this perfect. I think Miles Teller did a really good job too. So yeah, good stuff. I'll probably talk some more. I won't take too much here. Just going first, but great pick. Glad I watched it. We'll definitely probably end up watching it again at some point. I had to rent it this time, but next time it comes around for free, I'll probably or it's on whatever Netflix or whatever. I'll check it out. So good stuff.
Thank you. Question, Matt. Um, do you, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would you agree? Would you kind of describe, or what word would you use, or a couple words, a phrase to describe Fletcher?
Um,
Larsonish.
I would say misguided a-hole,
Okay.
y-
Um,
I- which does not make me think of anybody in this group at all. So
if you had to lean,
You know,
I'm
Dan
just
can hear you.
Kenny?
he doesn't
I think
react.
so. I think
Oh,
so.
well, good.
Thumbs up.
Okay. And like I don't have any of this, like I didn't plan on this or anything. Um, if you had to pick one, there's two columns and you gotta, lean towards one or the other. Um, would you describe him more as, and we're still just Fletcher, despicable or driven? And you can only pick one, but you got to lean one way or the other, or like maybe you're like, no, I jump right over on the despicable line, you know.
Yeah, I think despicable. I don't to say driven is it would just be too much credit for him. I think he knows what he's doing. He knows how he's manipulating. He literally starts up conversations so he can bring up stuff later to hold against him, as he did with Andrew, about his mom and his dad and all this stuff. And so he's definitely despicable. He doesn't do that stuff on accident. It doesn't come out as oh, this would be a good push point to get this kid to do better. It's all premeditated. So I would say despicable for sure.
All right. And not saying that I set a trap for you. Um, does it change anything if he's not a conductor and he's a football coach?
Ooh.
No, it does not. And
Because
that's a good
I've had coaches exactly
absolutely.
like him, and
Yeah.
parents love him.
Absolutely. And there are people, and I hate to break it to you, but there are still people out there
Oh
that
yeah,
are like that. And just they'll do anything, they'll say anything. And to varying degrees of success, but obviously the more successful you are, the more you get away with.
right.
Um, and as a football coach myself, I've never known anyone on, well, that's not true. I've never known anybody this bad on any staff I've been on. But I know guys who would bully and intimidate, and that was part of in their mind, that was part of how you got what you needed to get out of these guys. And it was either they're going to quit and cry and run away, or they're going to be tough and they're going to become these great football players. And they just never saw, they never saw that there was a better way to do that than to be like that. There's always there's never any excuse to act like that,
Right.
act like Terrence did,
I just
Fletcher.
just as you were talking, I got thinking, and I hadn't thought of it this way. If he was a coach, obviously for me it goes to hockey, and even not. I would never disparage the movie Miracle, but there are scenes,
Oh, sure.
that are quoted over and over, and they're loved, like the
Again.
again,
Yeah.
again.
Yep.
And he skates those guys until they die, and that scene is, you know, people love that. He's a great coach
There's like
because of that.
patriotic music playing behind it during
Right.
that scene.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, nobody would think despicable. They would think like, I don't know, anything other than
Yeah.
despicable. But that's one scene, and he's not an
Sure.
asshole the entire movie like Fletcher is.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, trying to
Yeah,
be
no,
controversial a little
great
bit.
question. And that's no, I totally see that because it's everywhere. And unfortunately, those guys find their way. And if they're not coaching high school kids, they're at coaching little league, or they're, my son plays travel baseball. I help coach that team, and we see some guys that are just awful.
Yep.
Just the way they talk to their own team, or the way they talk to the umpires, and never anything like Fletcher, but you can see it in them. Like, this is what they do. If they're doing this with other people listening to them, I can't imagine what they do when they're at practice without
Right.
anybody around.
In the
So
locker room.
yeah, it's sad.
Oh yeah.
I just saw a reel today of a bunch of parents fighting in Chuck E. Cheese. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Like, that does not surprise me at all, having watched the parents of athletes at sporting events. It doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
All right. Hilty. Wake up.
It looks like he's flipping you off.
Yeah, that thing over
No,
his shoulder.
no.
Is that a chair? Is that just a chair back there? Over your left shoulder? Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked like you were wearing a Mickey Mouse glove. flipping
Yeah.
around.
Still does.
Super specific. I like it. No, this is a great pick, Aaron. I wish somebody had picked it earlier. But I think Matt hit it on the head. It's, the whole crux of this movie rests on Fletcher's shoulders. And that line that he says, like, the two worst words that you could say is good job. And as a parent dealing with that, it's like, yeah, he's got a point sometimes, but also just the method in which he goes about doing it is just grossly out of control. I would encourage anyone that if they like this, to check out the because this was based on a short. Because
Mhm.
Damien Chazelle, who's the guy that directed this, couldn't get funding for this at all. Nobody would bite on this. So he turned it into a short. And then after it made the festival rounds, it eventually made its way to the studio that eventually said, yep, let's go ahead and make this and distribute this and make it into a full movie. Unfortunately for that studio, this movie made nothing at the box office.
Mm.
So it sucks that that happened, but this is also regarded as one of the great movies that we've had, at least in the 21st century, just for the acting, the music, and then the editing. The editing in particular is just top notch with this. Um, and just some of the camera choices or some of the choices that cinematography and Damien Chazelle makes to show his point. Like that last performance at the end where they're just like panning back and forth between Fletcher and Andrew. You're just waiting for something to happen, and they're just, that's a Damien Chazelle hallmark. Now he does that quite a bit in most of his movies, and if you haven't, he's like his three other movies that he's done. He's done La La Land, which I think you all covered already, right? You
Yep.
guys, you guys watched it. He did First Man, which is about Neil Armstrong, which is a bit underrated. I would say it's good. And then Babylon, which is very divisive. It's long. It's about Hollywood. All of these movies have something to do with jazz because
Mm.
Damien Chazelle loves jazz for some strange reason. But um, this isn't to say that jazz is bad. I'm just saying that he's got a weird kick with jazz. Yeah, overall, like I really love this movie. This is definitely up there with one of my favorites. Um, I think just Miles Teller, I think he gets kind of a bad rep because he kind of portrays himself as a cocky, arrogant jerk, and apparently in real life he's a cocky, arrogant jerk as well, which is why he hasn't made it further in Hollywood. But he's still really great in this. Um, the some of the scenes where his hands are bleeding from drumming, those are his actual hands because he was practicing so much. So that, just the commitment to this, I got to give people credit for this because I'm not sure that I would do this because J.K. Simmons did slap him a couple of times.
Mhm.
They did agree on it, but he did get slapped a couple of times. And J.K. Simmons has said that the script was significantly worse, and he had to put his foot down because he couldn't say some of the things uh, that they wrote because it was just too much. Which is weird because you look at a lot of what J.K. Simmons has done because we talked about this a couple weeks ago about how we'll mention for a second that J.K. Simmons has had like a very wide range of different things that he's done. Um, which makes him just like a fantastic actor in his own right because he's got a lot of range and he's got one of those instantly recognizable voices and also instantly recognizable angry voices in particular when he's yelling at somebody. But you know, have any of you ever seen the TV show Oz on HBO? If you watch that, because that's late 90s HBO, and that was, The Sopranos gets a lot of credit for turning HBO into like prestige TV Central and like going really hard on some of the content, but Oz was right there with them, and J.K. Simmons, he's a neo-Nazi, he's a neo-Nazi, and he just terrorizes all the people in this prison, and it's crazy to think that we can get from that to J. Jonah Jameson to this role. Um, he was supposed to have a larger role as Commissioner Gordon in the Zack Snyder DC verse, but that didn't take off, which is too bad. And then most recently, he was Santa Claus. Range, right? So, um,
Also a voice actor for Omni-Man in Invincible, that show on
yeah,
Prime.
that's that's also a great one because yeah, that's great. Yeah, the music great, performance is great. The only thing that I think kind of doesn't exactly fit in there is if they would have kept it with Andrew's parents and his family kind of giving him crap about, all of this, I think it would have been fine. I think adding in the girlfriend in this, it was just kind of like it's too much, which is weird because this isn't a very long movie, but they just take it a step further to show that, like, I don't know, Andrew can just be an asshole about stuff, and you could make the argument that Fletcher brings out the best in him, but it also brings out the worst. But for such a small role, Supergirl, she got like almost like one of the top billings for it, which I didn't think made a lot of sense. But this cast is comprised of not a lot of performers. It's comprised of a lot of musicians. Most of the extras and most of the people in the band, they're musicians. They're not actors, and that I think that's cool. So, Aaron, good pick. Love this movie. Definitely will not be the last time I see it, and this was definitely not the first time I've seen it. So, good pick.
Thank you. I'm glad I totally had the idea all by myself to pick this
Absolutely,
movie
yeah.
with no help from
Right on
anybody.
time.
You had brought up the girlfriend, and when this came up the first time for me, as a suggested movie, um, it was in the mix of about four. And like I said, it made it down to the, top two. It was this or Grand Budapest Hotel. Um, and what made it, make it through a couple rounds of cuts with me is because I did go and watch the trailer, and having seen the trailer and thought I knew everything about, the gist of the movie from the trailers I had seen, I totally forgot in the trailer that they even, and maybe certain trailers had it and certain trailers didn't, had a girlfriend, had a love interest. Um, and you brought up kind of a good point, and I want to bounce it off another, and once again without leading, um, and maybe you'll see where I'm going. What did you think of the dinner scene? How do you feel about the dinner scene with the family? I know it's his dad, but like I'm pretty sure I get who else was there, but not really, you know. Anyway, talk to me about the dinner scene. What do you think of it?
So, fun fact about the dinner scene, that was among one of the first scenes they shot, or it's either the first scene or one of the last scenes that they shot. It was something that Damien Chazelle wanted to challenge people, so and just try to get the best out of people right off the bat, and that was a technique that I think either Sidney Lumet or someone else did, where they shot difficult scenes first in order to make sure that to get everyone in the proper headspace. That dinner scene, like, first of all, that what a dick move by your dad. Just like with sliding in that passive aggressive gaslighting question at the very end. He's right, but also seeing full well that he's getting shit on by everybody else, but he's also not doing himself any favors either because he's he's Andrew's being a dick about everything too. So this has to be the worst, like the worst of everything when it comes to families. I'd hate to be like at this family's Thanksgiving because everybody is in full on dick swinging mode and just all they want to do is just one up one another. But it sucks as well because you have you have three kind of different areas. You have academics, you have sports, and you have music and the arts in general. And I think one thing that someone brought up is that isn't music subjective, or, you know, like as opposed to a sport, which is, there's a high score and a low score. Somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. Um, and I found that really intriguing because, you know, in in this day and age when it comes to sports, it's not just about wins and losses anymore. You look at so many different things as well that are subjective potentially. Just ask, who's the greatest sports team to ever do it? The
Detroit
two two
Pistons.
two-time Detroit Bad Boy Pistons, or the six-time Chicago Bulls?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
We
muted me
don't we
because he
haven't had a
knows it's
mute for a
true.
while.
He
The
muted
answer's
me because he
85
knows
Bears.
it's true. So
Oh, again. Got him again.
He fought back. He fought back.
I mean, you can't fight back against the truth, but fair enough.
Yeah.
So
That's why he wrote.
over that dinner scene is super awkward, but also what it tells us is that it gives us a little bit of insight into what kind of has driven Andrew in the first place. Is that he's competitive. He comes from a competitive family, but also he's kind of the odd person out because he's in the eyes of his family, he's not as successful as all the rest of them because they don't get it. They don't understand music the same way that he does. So that dinner scene is interesting, but also it just gives us some insight as well that Andrew's also an asshole too. So
Right.
it's
And
oh,
that's kind of why, the girlfriend, thinking about the girlfriend made me think of it. And what you had said, is the girlfriend, just a foil to show that he's a dick? And was the dinner scene just to show, reinforce that he's a dick, to show us, I don't know, maybe don't get too teary-eyed about this kid because, he can stick up for himself, and he's got a backbone and he's got a mouth, and I don't know. I thought those two things kind of went together to show his shitty side.
yeah. Well, because here's another question as well. Because you've got those two scenes. Um, the book that he misplaced. Are we sure he misplaced it, or did he do it on purpose? It's ambiguous.
Oh,
For
Fletcher took it.
Fletcher took it.
I think
Yeah.
so.
He set it down. Like, I don't think now he meant to screw the other drummers at different times, but I think that time he legitimately felt like he fucked up because he set it down and Fletcher swiped it. I believe.
yeah,
And I do
So-
like those things where we don't really know, but I 100% believe that.
Yeah, me too.
yeah. But then also he's an asshole to some of the other drummers as well too. So, and just
Agreed.
other performers in general.
Hilty, I like the potential take that he himself actually hid the book. I like that as another possibility, but I was 100% sure Fletcher was watching that the whole time, and as soon as it got put down, he went, or actually, as soon as he gave it to Andrew in the first place, he's like, "I'm stealing that fucking book, and this is the end of this guy."
Because the thing is also is that we've already pointed out that this is from Andrew's perspective only. So
Mhm.
as the one that is in 100% of this movie, and we don't really veer a whole lot from his perspective, can we really trust that everything that we're seeing on screen is actually what's happening, or is it all
Excellent
just
point.
coming from? I know I make those points all
It's
the
a
time,
really
Tim.
good point.
So
Most of the
but
time.
sometimes I would say maybe about 35% of the time. But yeah, it's one of those things where there's just all these little things are happening that it's like, the case is probably more geared towards Fletcher's a bigger asshole in this, but Andrew's not completely innocent in this
Oh, yeah.
as well.
And like I said, we see him screw up the other drummers over, or at least be like seriously rude, to the point of super dickish
Mhm.
to the other drummers, to his competition. Last question, since it's somewhat related, and this is for the table. Who was at the dinner? Are those
think
brothers? Are those cousins? Are
I think
those
Cousins.
it's I think it's
friends?
cousins.
I thought cousins. That had to be his uncle or his aunt. I think
See,
it's
I
his
thought,
aunt. I think she's listed as aunt in the cast.
okay, and I could have went and
Oh,
looked at that, but I
So I
thought that
think
was
it's
just his dad's friend. I didn't
that's
know
what
if
I
I
it was
think
his
thought
it's
dad's
too.
brother, and I'm like,
I
are
thought it
these
was family
just,
friends. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
no, I think they're one of the parents is related to the dad, and then so those would be his cousins. And the conversation seems like they've had this conversation before, and
oh yeah,
he kind of snaps, right? But I think it's also a point to show how what Fletcher's doing to him.
right,
Like he
Mhm.
probably has a little bit of uh arrogance in him already, but Terrence or Fletcher or whatever his name um, is actually not bringing out the best in him. He's bringing out some of the worst of him. I feel like that's part of that whole sequence is showing how far he's kind of dove.
Yeah, agreed. I was with you, Aaron. I thought they were family friends, but thinking about them being cousins, which is that's what Matt is saying, is that's what the cast says. Cousins being so competitive that they drive each other fucking crazy makes perfect sense to me.
Huh.
yeah. I mean, I went from, and I didn't dwell on it. I just kind of let the scene be what it was. But I went from thinking they were family friends to maybe cousins, and I'm like, are they his brothers? Is that, is this just something we're not going to deal with?
Yeah.
You know, and the
Yeah, he was an
lady,
only child. I'm pretty
well,
sure that was
I
said at
thought
one
that too, and
point.
that's why I was bouncing back and forth, but I was never really sure. And what about the woman at the table? What is she listed as? Aunt, did you
And
say?
That's
and
what, yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
so their list is Uncle Frank and Aunt Emma.
Okay. So they were together, and it makes sense, but I was just, like I said, I didn't dwell on it. I didn't let it pull me out. I'm like, where is this fight coming from? Why, how do they
mhm.
know each other so well to fight like this at dinner? You know, and being really close friends, or their dads being best buddies and them growing up together really didn't fit for me. Cousins works a little better.
But
I think,
I mean, she's talking up her kids and
Yep.
downplaying his thing, and dad isn't jumping in. And so, and all the Fletcher stuff,
well, and
changing him. So that's how he responds.
for a minute there, I thought it was mom talking about brothers, you know, and dad not jumping in because mom doesn't come around a lot and he doesn't want to fight with her. It was just, there was a lot of weirdness in that scene for me.
Yeah.
And I guess they don't have to walk in and, be like, hello, Aunt Janet and cousin Robbie and little Stevie, you've grown, or whatever. They don't have to
Well,
feed it to us.
I agree. It was a little off. I don't know, just a little different. But if what Hilty was saying, if it was one of the first things that they did, that might make a little more sense.
Right.
I think it's very difficult to, especially in a film like this, fully understand the arc, of the character, and then, but just jump in at like 2/3 through and nail that,
Right.
So
Well, Melo, why don't you just continue on with your thoughts?
okay. And I guess
I'm assuming Matt's done since he left.
Mike.
Matt's
Matt-
right
sorry,
there.
Matt.
Hilty was, I think he meant to say be right back to the group, but he sent
Okay.
it to me directly because I said something to him directly. So
Ah.
no, Hilty said he'll be right back.
Yeah. Sorry.
Can
Sorry,
I give
Matt.
Hilty
Sorry,
credit
Mike.
for something while he's not here? I'd like to give
Yes.
Hilty credit for something while he's not
The
here.
last time he wasn't here, you talked, he was like a Nazi sympathizer and, all the other stuff you were saying
Oh.
about him.
I do
Wow.
not recall that.
Oh, okay.
But him saying that the whole movie is, we just said that Andrew's in every scene is what Matt said. But Hilty kind of took that to, well, we're all getting it from Andrew's perspective. So, how much can you trust? That scene being awkward, that dinner being awkward makes sense if you look at it through the lens of all we're getting is what Andrew thinks. You don't need to know who those people are. All you need to know is that he resents them.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
And so I like that turn that Hilty put on that just for specifically that scene.
Yeah, it works nice.
I love the little, oh yeah, if you don't think D3 football is that tough, why don't you come on out?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, so, oh, go ahead.
sorry, I was just gonna say he could have easily have said, if you think drumming is easy,
That's
come
right.
get your
Yeah.
hands
That's right.
bloody while I practice for 6 hours. So could have gone either way there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's good. It was just, it was interesting. It was, and that was, I don't know if, I mean, the girlfriend thing was there too. I had never seen this. I watched it 2 weeks ago. Ironically, I watched Sing Sing on Friday because I didn't watch it before because I was studying. And so that is totally in my head. I took a long walk yesterday and listened to the Everything Everywhere All at Once and the A24 stuff. So I had, like, my mind is not fully focused on this. I almost rewatched it today because I should have done that. But I think I'm good. I was trying to think of, like, where the turning point or whatever happened. There was the girlfriend stuff, but that again, going back to the dinner scene, that was one that really stood out. There was that, and then a little later, I knew he was going to start back talking Fletcher. That he what is it, the persona or the aura or the can't think of the right word, but anyway, like the
Was it
regard that he
something?
held him in.
Was it something you saw in the character, or was it just your idea of how this story is going to end up going because I've seen movies before?
No, not necessarily because of movies before, but I think something in the character, and then just if that's true to the character, and he's going to become this thing and have that confidence, then that arrogance is going to carry through to pushing back against those types of things. And so I was glad to see that. I mean, I guess for my own validation, that's kind of how it went.
So you're saying the same kid that says to the quarterback who just set some kind of record, it's not even Division 1 or Division 2 football. That's the same guy who's going to hit the crash cymbal that will slap the conductor in the face in the middle of a performance and say, "I'll lead you in."
Yeah, that was a little bit far. I didn't predict that part. When he was arguing that, like, this is my role or this is my spot, you can't give that up. Bullshit. And again, it was just really cool. Like, cool is, I don't know how to say, like, well done. I don't know. He wanted him to do that. He wanted him to fight him. He wanted him to push back and fight for that role, I think. So anyway, I guess taking a step back, I'd never seen this. I thought I knew that it was acclaimed and that J.K. Simmons won. I thought it was an inspiring story of a teacher helping a student, and which kind of, but definitely not.
If it was baseball, it would have been.
That's a thick lens you got to wear in order to see it that way.
I'll tell you what. So I wrote down 3 notes the whole night. I wrote down Whiplash and I wrote Stewie voice because it kept making me laugh. To just say it in that whole, like, Whiplash thing, dumb, stupid thing.
Yes.
So that was the first thing I wrote. I wrote Miles Teller was really babyface because I've only seen him in a few things. One being the most recent, the Top Gun movie. And so I didn't realize this was that old, and he definitely looked kind of babyface to me. And then the only other thing I wrote was when we finished the movie, Jamie said they both got what they wanted, or they both won, or something. I can't remember. I left it inside, but basically that was it. Like, he became great, or on the path to greatness, and Fletcher got what he wanted. He drove somebody to the point of greatness in his mind. Was that the only way to get there? That's the debate. I do often wonder. Like, I remember, I guess consciously making a choice years ago when the girls were very little that whatever career at that time, education, obviously, do I want to be really driven and really great and do, something with that at a next level, or do I want to be a good dad and husband? And like that I felt you literally have to make the choice, whatever the vocation. I mean, there's obviously successful people that do all of that and balance it well and those types of things, but the Steve Jobs and those types of folks, I don't know that you get to do all of it. At that level. I mean, even, he was talking about, like, I like the other part of the dinner scene that I really, really like was the debate about Charlie Parker. And, well, yeah, he died at whatever young age with all these issues and all that stuff.
Heroin
and he's like,
in an alley.
yeah. He's like, okay, but we're talking about him. And none of us knew him, like that was his counterpoint. And I just thought it was kind of interesting. So yeah, it was, like I said, I just it was one of those that I was along for the ride. I really did find it interesting. I didn't think about the camera was with him the whole time until he mentioned it, but especially, I mean, I guess I kind of thought about it, the editing that Hilty mentioned earlier, that car crash scene. And then just not even like dealing with that or like having that be the wake up call. Like he still went straight through it. Was really interesting. I did wonder. So, okay, we talked about Miles Teller actually being able to play some drums. J.K. Simmons actually play piano?
Yeah, I got some information for that. So Miles Teller has been drumming since he was 15. And so he's pretty good, but he's not a jazz drummer. And so he took 4 hours a day lessons in order to get up to speed to be able to play this kind of style drums. J.K. Simmons's mother is a music teacher. And so he has music background and has played the piano, but had to take lessons as well to learn how to play the piano in that capacity.
Okay, cool. That's interesting. I kind of figured, that there was something there, but it wasn't.
He looked pretty comfortable at that piano in the jazz club.
Yeah. Yeah, I did wonder about that too, just with him. Like if he really was this, I don't know, an origin story or something, when that would have flipped for him from when he gave up on his dream to then, okay, I'm now going to drive somebody else to greatness.
I would love that. I would love to watch that movie.
Yeah, so I don't know, kind of all over the place, but that's really all I got. It was definitely an interesting story, feel good, not so much, but they also weren't wrong in these circumstances with some of the less nice arguments. It's tough to counter them.
All right, and I was thinking about this 5-10 minutes ago while you were talking. I don't know if you talked that long, but somewhere in the middle of you talking, the question I want to ask you, and there's really no right or wrong, but it does go exactly along with, your origin story thing that you just brought up, or even a sequel. Is this Fletcher's first successful creation? Is Andrew his first success at driving a kid to greatness, or has he done it before? Follow-up question, does he fall back into it and find a new one to work on in 3 months or next year, or try to get back into a school next semester?
So my initial response was, well, yeah, he said in the bar that he hadn't done it before, but maybe he had, and that was another motive to drive.
There was a lot of bullshit flying in the bar.
Yeah. But I don't think he had, because the smile at the end, I think was very telling.
So if it is his success he's been driven to create, is he satisfied now? Does he just join a jazz band and play 3 nights a week at a nightclub and he's fine with his life?
Probably somewhere in between. I think he still does this stuff, but I don't think. I think there is some satisfaction to him. It's rare. I mean, it's really, really rare. To then think that he's going to catch lightning in a bottle twice. Right. But I also think there's something to him that's too far gone.
Yeah.
to truly change.
And I know he's super proud with himself, but does he in any way, because it would have to be subtle because he's, too prideful, but do you think he ever tries to take credit? So Andrew, 5 years from now, is a top jazz player in New York and everybody in the jazz community knows his name. Does Fletcher always make sure people know that he came from me? I did that.
Did
Yeah.
did he talk about who threw the cymbal at Charlie Parker?
He said a
Yeah, they
name.
knew both
I don't
names.
remember
Yeah.
the name. He said a
Yeah,
name.
it comes up a couple times. Right, I don't remember either. But based on that, yes, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would kill him for people not to know that he did it.
Right.
So he's got to start that Charlie Parker story and make sure his name is in it as the cymbal
He
thrower.
would never have been Charlie Parker without me.
Right.
Right.
I agree. But yeah, prequel would be cool to see what made him as fucked up
Oh
as he
man.
is.
But like Hilty said, it didn't make any money. So if
Right.
this one
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
make any money, that's not going to make any money. So nobody's ever going to allow
Right.
that to happen. So another situation where Hollywood's going to let us down, because I would love to follow this story, but if it doesn't make money, Hollywood's not going to do it.
Right. Keep going, Tim.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got a bunch of reaction stuff. In the first place, I just want to start off saying, Matt, when you picked this originally and it didn't meet the criteria for the theme we were going, would you rather I had said good job?
Touche, sir. Touche.
Or did you make him into the superior movie picker that he is because you wrote him so hard?
I certainly try, Aaron. I mean, I try. You said it at one point, Matt, that he could have toned it down a little. Like, he was just Simmons' character. He could have toned it down. A dude killed himself. Like, you need to tone it down more than a little.
Yeah.
It's an oversimplification. Now, Aaron, I love you asked this question. Was he driven or despicable? And here's the word that I land on for this whole movie. And I didn't even mean it for Fletcher's character. Nobody said the word obsessed yet. And for me, this whole movie is about being obsessed. And it's both of these guys. Andrew is obsessed with becoming the absolute best drummer he can be. And Charlie Parker is a name. Like, that is not Charlie Parker. That's a horn player. That's the bird. What's Rich? Buddy Rich? Is that the drummer that he's listening to?
Drummers that he's listening to.
Okay. He wants to be Buddy Rich. He wants to be this, this happened. And does Charlie Parker come up in this movie? Or is it all Buddy Rich that he's talking about?
No.
Charlie Parker comes up.
It is. Okay. Sorry.
But
about
yeah,
that.
so obsessed could be the tree that both those branches come from.
This is what I'm saying.
It doesn't have to be a third.
This is what I'm saying. Both of these guys are coming from an unhealthy obsession, the teacher and the student. And that's why they keep gravitating toward each other. In that jazz club, they're still together, and there's a certain amount of Fletcher's character that's like, man, I'm going to fuck this kid over for fucking me over. But they're also, because they're both so obsessed with this greatest in the history of whatever thing, that they can't quite not be near each other. And I don't think it's a healthy relationship, but I think it's something that neither one of them would give up. So if I wanted to...
Hang on, I got to push back a little there.
Yeah.
Because Fletcher is absolutely not concerned with him becoming the greatest drummer ever at that point. He wants to fucking destroy him.
He does.
He's not trying to push him or make anything great about him.
That scene, he's trying to shove it up his ass that he got fired because the kid told on him, for sure. However, once he sees it happen on stage, he's like, this is what I was doing the whole time, guys.
Yeah, but he didn't know that was coming.
Right.
He thought he was ruining him.
Right.
So
now,
and I could see your point if you were saying at that point of the bar scene, he's thinking this kid's got it, and I got to make sure nobody ever sees it.
Yeah, it could be.
Because if he's not going to be tied to me, it's never going to happen.
But I don't want to tie my whole obsession thing to that one scene, though. That's not my point. I think the whole movie is about obsession and how unhealthy it can be, wanting to achieve greatness at all costs. Both of them lose in the end. You know what I mean? Like, I think the kid in the end, he gets to the point where he's accomplishing something that nobody's accomplished before on that stage. I mean, who would be able to go out with a bunch of musicians like that, go off on your own tangent and bring them all back in like that? Who would be able to do that? That's a pretty extraordinary thing musically. However, what's that gets you the next day? You know, like the only people that are going to recognize that are pretty much him and Fletcher and the guys on the stage. You know, like maybe the people in the crowd are like, "This is fantastic," but the fact that you got to the cliff point and you went beyond it, who really knows that the next day? Like, what did you really win? Um, if I were to try and make a Star Wars reference out of this movie, I would say that Fletcher and Andrew are like a dyad in the Force, working together. So I'll let that go. Let me go to Hilty said that is the girlfriend too much? Is the girlfriend necessary in the story? And I think absolutely, and the two cousins, because it shows that side of Andrew. Like her character isn't that important to the plot; it's that important to the character development. And so I think you do need her and that quarterback to show, as Aaron said, this guy can be a serious dick, and that's just him stepping over anybody he can with the obsession in his mind. Also, Hilty said that that I'd hate to be at that Thanksgiving. I would invite anybody to stop by the Larson family Christmas party. I mean, it's something. Melo, you said they both got what they wanted in the end. And I'm just kind of think that fits into the way I'm phrasing this thing as two obsessed people found some performance that had greatness in it. And my point is they lost a lot along the way. So, I mean, they got the greatness in the performance, but in life, what did they really get out of that? Like how far do you have to go to get a success if you want to be that obsessed? And is it worth it? I think that's what this movie is getting at is something like that actually worth it? And for me, the answer is no, but maybe other people would answer it, that differently. Okay. Going to some lighter notes. I just wrote J.K. Simmons with an exclamation point. He's just outstanding in this role. I mean, holy shit, what a nightmarish character. He didn't even need a Darth Vader mask to be that scary. Like, he's just intimidating and scary. I wrote down Fletcher stole the book. We already passed. The guy who had the book. His name is Carl in the movie. The one who gave the book to Andrew and then it got stolen and he lost the job. He said, I need to read the book. He's got some kind of learning disorder. He's got to be able to read. That actual dude, the actor, was the drum teacher for Miles Teller. So he was the drum teacher and he got to act in a bit, which is pretty cool. The 1, 2, 3 slap. 1, 2, 3 slap. Am I early or am I late? I watched it again today, and I'm saying this is what I saw. The first time he does it, 1, 2, 3 slap, he's late. 1, 2, 3 slap. 1, 2, 3 slap. He's late. And the second time he does it, he's early. So he switched up his slapping with the counting, and Miles Teller gets it right the second time around. Let's see. I wrote down in here, I love the music in here. Jazz music is real touch and, hit and miss for me. Touch and go, hit and miss. I wrote down 4 different kinds of jazz. There's slow jazz, which shouldn't exist anywhere on the planet. There's elevator jazz, which is even worse. Then there is ego solo jazz, where the band plays and somebody stands up and does a solo for 20 minutes. And I can't stand that music. And then there's big band jazz. And I know Aaron and I were talking about this last week, and Mike, I love big band jazz type stuff. So the poppiness of the drums and the horns working with it in here in short sort of time instead of a 25-minute long song. I really, really enjoy that. So this music was really cool. And some of the time signatures are a little different than normal time, which makes it very complicated. Whiplash, that song itself, I've read 2 things. One that's in 7/4 time, and another one says 14/8, which I can't even comprehend. 7/4 makes sense to me, but 14/8 does not. Um,
You know,
and that's
math
why
teacher there, if you multiply each of those numbers by 2,
Yeah, you can reduce that, right? Isn't that what?
yeah.
oh, it is
The
the
whole
same, isn't
the
it? Yeah,
whole
look at that. It is
the
the same.
yeah, the whole idea, Tim, on it,
Yeah.
like I'm half making fun of
Equivalent
you, but honestly,
fractions.
to answer the thought,
Yeah.
the whole point is that it's just very fast because they're eighth notes rather than quarter
Oh,
notes.
there you go.
So
There you go.
7/4 would be 7 quarter notes per,
Right.
per stanza or whatever, per measure. But when you make the eighth note the base of it, then that means the song's going to be a lot faster.
I get it.
So same type of rhythm, but just a ton faster. That's the reason I think that it would be in 14/8, which is a very strange time signature to see,
Right.
but same idea.
So, just if you have no idea what any of that means, 7/4 means as you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. In 7/4, you don't get to 8. You start over when it doesn't feel like you should start over. So the
You
timing goes
would
1,
count up to
2,
7.
3,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And it just feels jarring because counting to 4 just feels normal because that's what most music is like. Last thing else,
Pink Floyd's Money is a perfect example of
that's
7
in
over
7
4.
4. Yeah. Last two things. One, I think is fantastic. It's J.K. Simmons said a line wrong. He was supposed to say, "I'll gut you like a fucking pig," and he said it wrong. He said, "I'll fuck you like a pig," and they called cut, and the director went, "I got to tell you, man, I really like the line, 'I'll fuck you like a pig.' Like it feels more like Fletcher saying, 'I'll fuck you like a pig.' It's worse." And J.K. Simmons went, "I'm not doing that." So what happens if you watch that scene again, which I did today? He starts yelling at him, and then the camera angle goes to Andrew, and they keep the line. So Simmons refused to say it again, but they managed to keep it in with editing, which is great. All right, that's all I got. That was a lot, but that's all I got.
All right, Tim. And I guess it depends on how you answer it. And I know what the internet says, but what are the last 2 words that Fletcher says to him that you only see from here, but he's definitely talking to him?
I didn't get that far today. I watched it 2 weeks ago, and I didn't get to the end of the movie. So this is after they kind of share. He like they share the look. Like
The drum thing's going, he's
yep,
doing awesome. He's running the show.
yep.
And you see Fletcher from here and he says something, but you can't see what he's saying. And well, I'll tell you what the internet says. The internet
Okay.
says he says good job. He says good job.
Oh, that would make sense, and that would bring Matt full circle.
And what is the meaning of him saying good job at the end after the success?
Yeah,
Is it really good job or is it fuck you?
I think it's if that's what he says, I think it's probably an acknowledgement of what a great job he did, and he's saying it in a fuck you manner. I think it's both. I think it's an acknowledgement by saying fuck you, good job.
Because he'd already said it's the worst thing you could say to somebody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he sort of half breaks his own rule by I'm going to tell you good job, but I'm not going to let you enjoy it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But he does mean it.
I think he means it.
literally, yeah. Okay.
You can see the look. He means it.
Okay. I was gonna go to Dan, but I guess I'm gonna go to Mike.
All right. I guess I don't have a ton to add, honestly. Everybody's kind of been making most of my points. I'll echo what Tim said though. I love the music in this movie. I mean, I would I really need to get some Caravan and some Whiplash into some of my playlists because it's good stuff. Um yeah, I just generally J.K. Simmons yelling and swearing at people is just good cinema. It's just whatever the situation, it's just entertaining as hell. Yes, his character was a complete just a terrible human being, but entertaining nonetheless. Like I'm not rooting for him or anything, but it's like God, whenever Miles Teller, whenever Andrew would go and like he'd start talking to his girlfriend, they'd be like, "No, go back to the band so J.K. Simmons can yell at you more. I want to see more of that." Like, it's just he's so good. There's a
I
reason
mean,
he was
even
J. Jonah Jameson.
like, what about you, Elmer Fudd? Are you out of tune? That's just fucking
Yeah,
great.
it's just it's just so
Or he
good.
wasn't out of tune, but the fact he didn't know.
Yeah. Some of the mind games his character plays are just, I mean, it's one thing to yell and curse and scream and keep people there till 2 in the morning, all that, but like a lot of it was like straight up heavy manipulation. The whole, going and yelling at the kid because he was out of tune, and then like actually he wasn't out of tune, like you just mentioned that whole thing. I was, good Lord, the potential idea that Fletcher picked up the book after Andrew put it down. And then of course at the end bringing him in on the show and just to get him to fuck, just to kind of try and fuck him over. Just like, man, you just like get kind of back to the origin story thing. What happened, man? Like, who hurt you? Just wow. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed this. I'm glad that we did watch it. I will say going into it, I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea what this movie was about until I started watching it. Um, I did briefly confuse it with I think I figured out it was the movie Crash. So the entire time I was watching this movie, I was like, wait, isn't there supposed to be like a huge car crash in this or something? And then there
Yeah,
is. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, I was right. And like I thought I was right. But then I figured, oh, well, there's still like another half hour, 40 minutes left in this movie. So that's the big thing. Like that's why everybody talked about the car crash in this, because it like completely turns the movie upside down. And then it doesn't. He just gets up and walks away from it bloody. It's like, well, oh, okay. I guess I just had the wrong movie then. So that was a little journey I got to take on my own. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I think I will say, there have been a few times a couple of people have said like, oh well, J.K. Simmons or Fletcher kind of has a point when he says the worst thing you can say is good job. Sometimes I want to really emphasize the sometimes, because sometimes on the other hand, good job is all somebody needs to hear.
Yeah, that's a
So,
good point.
Depends
there's a
on the
pretty,
individual. Yeah.
yeah, and the situation. I mean, there's a pretty fine line there. And when you are obsessed with, greatness, or if you are just narcissistic or you're manipulative or just any of that, um I think, you know, when you think in absolutes, it makes it easier because it's like you have this hard set rule for yourself. It's like, nope, you can never say good job, even if, okay, actually, it makes sense to say it here, even if that's
Mhm.
generally your rule. But it's like, nope, never, that kind of thing. And, we're dealing with a couple of guys that have some pretty serious mental health issues in this movie. So, anyway. I'll yield my time from there.
Okay. Um, two things for using so you guys talking about the and breaking down the good job, and him saying it was all right, but we've had a couple conversations about the good job. Um, with my oldest son through internet child psychologists, TikTok and Facebook and stuff. There has been something I've seen in the last few years where, people talk about, and, usually it's an absolute, never tell your kid that they're smart, you know, never. And it kind of resonated with me for, a little bit, because with my oldest son, a lot of things, you know, uh, academically came easy, and we told him a lot. We were proud of him, and, buddy is, so smart, you're doing so good. And I kind of agree with what some of these people were saying. Now, the fact that you never tell a kid they're smart, probably not. That's going to
Right.
be just as detrimental the other way. But what they suggest, and it's way too late. We just had his 23rd birthday party today. So, and he's doing fine. I didn't ruin him. But
Yet.
So you say.
yeah, there were a couple times.
That's the growth mindset.
He's caught me a couple times after a few beers, and we've had some deep conversations. So, I wasn't perfect. I did screw him up in a couple cases, but we talked it through. He's like, he went to school to be a psychologist, and he's good at what he does. He understands what's going on. But what they suggest saying is, you work so hard. We saw you put in a lot of effort, rather than just calling it smart. Because, and what we did see is, as he got a little older, late middle school or late elementary, early middle school, if he would try things like, playing hockey or whatever, just different things, if he wasn't immediately good at it, he didn't like it, because he was used to, he's smart, everything's easy to him. And
being talented.
Right. If I'm not good at this, then it's my fault because I'm not smart enough to figure it out. So I'm not trying it, and I think he missed some opportunities because of that. And it might have, I'm not saying it's 100% because we were, loving parents and told him he was smart. But it probably didn't help. And I'm like, that kind of makes sense when I hear it, not that there's anything I can do about it now. Tim, you lean forward like you were going to say something.
I just, I'm reflecting back. Matt started this conversation with this, that it's the good job comment, and that, too many people have heard that. And that's where society has, taken us in a weird direction. And then reflecting on your own parenting, like this movie isn't just a good movie with good music. There's a lot to take away from this, before this movie came out and after this movie came out, really.
Cool. Good. I don't know what to go from there.
Yeah, sorry.
But Mike, what is worse that Fletcher does? Is it and it kind of switches from one to the other, so it's kind of like start of the movie, end of the movie. What's worse, how he kind of introduces himself, slips into the room, slips out of the room. I didn't tell you to stop. I didn't tell you to start. What do the
like a wound up monkey.
Right. And I mean, when he's got his arm up on the wall and he's got Andrew kind of pinned in there and like, tell me about your mom. I really want to know about you. And, so is that worse than, I'm going to fuck you like a pig and throwing shit at him? And like, which one's worse, the subtle manipulation or the overt violence? Or
I like this question. Yeah, I mean, neither one's good. I kind of have to feel like just that, like, that's kind of like which one's worse, physical abuse or emotional abuse in a way, because like the throwing the symbol at his head could, like, literally that could have hit him and seriously injured him if he didn't get out of the way. That's. And obviously,
the story had the symbol. He threw a chair at him.
He threw a chair. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So I mean,
get the right plot device.
Yeah,
prop.
I guess just I'm not gonna. I guess I can't. Looking at it as two forms of abuse, I can't really say that one's gonna be worse than the other because they're both bad.
Yeah.
Those two actions you said specifically. I guess I would think I'm gonna fuck you like a pig would probably be a little worse, but yeah, overall he does both. I mean, he does a lot of just like subtle manipulation, and of course just the outright, but he does them. He does it both. He does both of them.
I mean, it's a unanswerable, question.
Yeah.
I do personally.
I like it,
I think the manipulation's worse. Just show me the enemy you are. The bringing me in and pretending you're my friend and getting information from me, or just or bringing the other kid in, and he had shown he was a physically abusive or, more, I don't know, close abusive. By the time he gives the third kid the music early and he has, a whole extra day to practice it and you got 3 hours or, till we come back. Just, I don't, the mental manipulation to me seems worse, but
Yeah,
I mean,
Well,
personally to me, I've been mentally manipulated several times and I fucking hate it. So I like from my own personal experience, I would agree, but I also have never been like, physically abused or even
right.
like, that kind of thing before quite like that. So I can't speak for, like that. But yeah, from my own experience, I would agree.
two things. One, Mike, I apologized for that. And two, um, I'm going to go back to the scene in the jazz club where what's his name, Simmons' character, Fletcher,
Fletcher.
just so nonchalantly says, "Oh, the only reason he was around because he said, why don't you have him play the drums? He's still around." He's like, "Oh, the only reason I had him around was motivation for you." Like he doesn't even. He just says it like flat out, like, "Oh, that's the only thing I was doing is I was trying to motivate you at that time." Like as if it wasn't a terrible thing that he did. He's just
Right.
saying it. This is just a thing I do.
Yeah. Yeah. He's terrible.
Yeah.
And is that even true? Is that part of his manipulation where he knows he's got to make it all about Andrew? So, if I tell him I'm shitting on this kid to make you better, that's just going to feed your ego and you're definitely going to show up Saturday night, or
Yeah, in
whatever.
the club, he makes it look like it makes it feel like it is true, and then suddenly they get on
Mhm.
stage and you're like, "Oh, uh-oh." Like he's got that look in his face with that little grin like, "Haha, I just fucked you over." That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Now I want to go back to your 2-word question, Aaron, and say that the 2 words he said were, "You're welcome."
Yeah, it could be because he knows.
Yeah, he thinks he
Yeah.
knows, but yeah.
Well, no, I mean, he knows that Andrew's great and Andrew knows he's
Hmm.
great
Hmm.
and might as well just take credit for it.
Yeah, grab the credit. Grab the credit. Yeah.
All right,
Did you have
Dan,
another
sit.
question or was that?
No, that was it. I just wanted to
Oh,
know
okay.
your opinion on a more cerebral question about mental manipulation versus physical abuse.
Gotcha. Good conversation. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's all right.
We made it
Bring us home, Dan.
223 movies before we got to the word cerebral.
For was this the third viewing or had you seen it 3 times previous?
This is my third. Um, and to answer that question, because it's a very interesting question, for me, it's the subtle that's what much worse to me. Like you said, show me who you are right up front. Don't do all those bullshit mind games and then screw me later on.
Well, yeah, I
Again,
mean,
Dan, I've apologized for that.
I'd rather get the belt and get it over with
Yeah,
than have
amen.
my mom guilt trip me for a week. That's just I'd rather take it. I can take a punch.
Yeah.
Not that my dad ever punched me. I did get the belt and I deserved it every time. Um, but yeah, I just the mental stuff. When's it gonna end? And when are you my friend? I think that just sticks. So
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, love this movie. I liked at the beginning where they showed him drumming and it was down like a long hallway and the camera was set far back. I think they were kind of showing his loneliness in that scene right at the beginning. They were kind of showing you what he was. He was a drummer and didn't seem like he had a whole lot of friends because he was walking in the dorm that one time and everybody was goofing around and playing and he just walked right by everybody and went to his room. So um, whether by choice or not, it didn't seem like he had a whole lot of friends. Um, let's see. Oh, I think we were talking about the Sean Casey earlier. I think they brought Sean Casey into it, the guy who committed suicide, to show that Fletcher had failed. He hadn't had anybody successful yet. I think and then he flips it and says, he died in a car accident. He didn't tell everybody that, he really killed himself. So I don't think that was one of the questions, I believe, if he had anybody successful, and I don't think he had. I think this is potentially his first success story. Um, yeah. Um, but yeah, I think the center, for me, the centered theme of the whole movie is what Andrew says, towards the end of the nightclub, said, is there a line?
Mm.
Is there a line to be drawn? When's that line drawn? Um, After an accident, he still pushes on and tries to, get to the club. Is it when he's expelled? You know, when Fletcher's fired? What's the line here in this whole thing? Um, but not a whole lot more. I think most of it was covered. When they brought Ryan in to be the core drummer, he just brought him in, said, "Hey, he's a core drummer now." I think everybody in the audience knew that no, that is not going to happen. This kid's going. He was all smiles, and this kid's going to get his ass kicked. And everybody
Real
knew he
quick,
was just bringing him in.
I was just that was one of my favorite like little not throwaway but subtle when Andrew realizes that he's about to get his, that look on his face, like, oh shit, this is gonna be great, is awesome. As demented as it is, like it's a really fun little moment.
Right? Yep. Let's see. And for me at the end, that's a huge risk by Fletcher to bring him into the band, not knowing the music, because then it could reflect badly on Fletcher also. People in the audience say, "Hey, your band is fucked up. What are you doing?" So that, you know, it could really be a bad thing for him. Not only ruin Andrew's potential career, but it could ruin Fletcher's also. Are the people in the audience going to look at it like, well, the kid's just a fuck up on the drums, or are they going to look at it as, Fletcher, he's a screw up as a conductor? Um,
I think,
Bill,
Dan, if I can interrupt right there, I think he had a plan for all of that because if I remember correctly from the jazz club scene, he said this is a one-time show I'm doing. Like they invited me to do this one-time show thing. And so I think he was thinking, one, it's a throwaway, so who cares if they don't like how this goes? I've got years and years of credibility behind me. And two, as soon as he fucks up, I'm going to apologize to the crowd and make him look even worse and make me look even better.
Yep.
Um, Politicians do that shit all the time, but we could talk about that for hours. We don't need to.
but he says to him before they go out, he says, these are huge people in the industry. So if you're great, this could lead to big things. If you
Yeah.
suck, then it's the end for you.
He said it to all of them or just to Andrew?
To the band, he said
Oh,
that
he
too.
says it to
Yeah.
all of them. Okay. Probably a lie.
Yeah, very well. Yeah, could have been.
I kind of saw the same thing as, I see the same problem, and maybe a tiny plot hole or whatever, which he doesn't really, I don't remember it happening. He doesn't introduce the band and, I really want to thank Andrew, whatever, for sitting in last minute. That would be more of a politician thing to do to kind of hedge your bets if this does go wrong, which he's, plotting for it to go wrong.
Mm.
But you would think even him, if he was being genuine and brought Andrew in, just to save face to the audience. Hey, I know this great drummer. He's sitting in last minute. His name's Andrew, whatever. One, it would solidify everybody hearing his name. And then when he sucks, it's like, oh, we took a shot and
Yeah.
Andrew didn't
Yeah.
cut it. I'm really sorry. I'm embarrassed for him and us, have a good night. But he didn't do that, I don't think. He didn't do anything that said Andrew's a last minute drummer for us, which I thought maybe he should have if he was really
Mm.
going to screw him over. But anyway, so I agree with you, Dan, that that's a little plot hole because it could have looked bad on Fletcher too.
Didn't he say that but like didn't he kind of raise the stakes for him because he was like, hey, like this could be a throwaway and it's no big deal, but like if you're in, you're in because all the people that are going to be at this show are, For lack of a better term, he doesn't say it, but basically, like all the scouts are going to be there, that kind of thing.
Mm.
Like he does kind of make that point, and they do show people in the audience kind of going like, they're looking at each other when he's not really getting the right rhythm. It's like, ooh, that kind of thing. So, I mean, I don't know.
I agree, but how trustworthy is that though? You know,
True.
it just could be a local theater thing. You can't trust anything Fletcher says at that point.
Yeah. And you can't really trust anything Andrew says. So,
Yeah.
kind of back to this whole, these two were little kind of sociopaths.
Yeah, and that's part, the scene where we're talking about he talks bad about his dad. He says your dad's a failed writer. He's kind of trying to be a like surrogate father to him, and because then the next scene that kind of works because the next scene they show is his phone ringing and it's his father and he ignores it. So it's kind of like Fletcher's. That's what Fletcher wants. He wants him to look up to him, and not his father. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I really like this movie. I'll definitely watch it again.
All right.
I don't know if Aaron has a question for me or
I
not.
do. I do. I
Yeah,
do.
that's the
Um,
teacher in him wanting to get all
Oh
the
yeah.
questions.
well, and once again, I think these were all kind of opinion questions. There's really no right or wrong. Um, if you had an overall tone for the movie, a feeling, um, and just one, it can't be this part and this part, this part. So, what was the feeling this movie gave you?
The feeling,
Like rage, anxiety, sympathy. Those are all
the
feelings.
the whole movie, I wanted somebody to kick Fletcher's ass. So I guess there's some rage there. I'm like,
It's a hockey
somebody,
player talking right there.
yeah, somebody do something to this guy. He's like out of control, and and I just wanted somebody to kill him.
Just to kill him. All right.
Well,
Yeah.
to tackle him, which he did in the end, which he goes out and he
Yeah.
finally says, screw you, I'm gonna go fight you, and um, I mean, the fact that he went on stage after the car accident, he's got blood all over him, his clothes are all torn. I mean, did Fletcher want him to fail at that point? Is that why he let him go behind the drum set? I mean, because obviously he was in no condition.
Right.
So yeah, so a little rage and wanting Fletcher to get his ass kicked.
All right. Yeah. I see that. Like to me, I was filled with anxiety pretty much the entire movie.
Yeah.
That was my over and like my wife asked, how was it? And I was like, well, it was terrible, and that's what they wanted, because it made me feel terrible. The movie was good, and I said they did their job because I think
Like
they were
Midsummer.
trying to make me feel uneasy, you know. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't see that one, but they were trying to make me feel uneasy and they succeeded, and I didn't like it, but I liked it, you know.
I think I had the anxiety until I realized he was kind of a monster too.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
then that went away. Like it's a much different story, to hear somebody, I don't know, in a way he wanted to be manipulated or he want like there. I remember a coach talking to me years ago, like about how he didn't know how to motivate me. Like he would, try certain things or try yelling and that kind of like, and it just didn't fit. And for him, I think he understood in a weird way that this is what he needed to. I don't know that it's right, but like he thought that it was right to get to where he wanted to go. And as far as the anxiety, like that part went away from me after like the dinner scene and stuff like that. When you knew that he could fight back and he
Right.
had some awful to him, I was like, oh, okay.
At least when he kicked the shit out of him on stage and choked him. But even then, I still like, no, for me, and I get that, he could stand up for himself and he had a backbone and he was, tough. Um, but still, even, the walking past or go walking into the bar and Fletcher and him making eye contact and him wanting to get out but Fletcher somehow crossing the room instantly and, hey, Andrew,
hmm
would you like a drink, buddy? I'm like, just run.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I knew that wasn't genuine.
Yeah, it's a shark in the water that doesn't look like a shark. That's what was
Right.
going on right there.
But he chose to go in, like was the
Yeah.
hmm
Yep.
he saw the name and that's what he wanted in a weird, I don't know.
Yeah. No,
Again, though, like he could have said no
yeah.
to playing drums. He could have said no, but that's the thing. I think he's drawn to him because he's like, this guy's got the success that I'm looking for.
I
And it
can't
goes
quit
against
you.
everything that should be your instinct. And he's like, yep, I'm gonna keep drumming anyway.
Right.
But he
And
did
then
quit for a while because he took this poster down. He put his drum set in the closet. And
yeah, but even like the scene, the last scene, he walks off the stage, his dad hugs him, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go back out there. At that point, I don't think he knows what else to do. Like there's nothing else in his life
Right. Exactly. He's
that he
got nothing
knows how
else.
to do. He's like, nope, I'm gonna go back out there and then I guess he lands it on his feet, but at the same time, like at what cost are you playing at that level?
Because he's obsessed.
Get
It's a
back to
good
your
word.
obsession.
It's a good word for it, Mike.
Just bringing things full circle. That's all I'm trying to do.
Good job.
All right. So
Thanks.
Tim,
Nice.
I do need presentation control.
Oh, presentation control. I can do that. Hang on.
Oh, yes.
You remember this,
on.
don't you?
Yeah, that's why.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that why you were making the
That's
reference?
absolutely
You were?
why I was
Trying to steal my thunder?
I was totally doing that. Yeah. There you go. You are live.
Okay. You guys got the stuff at the top, or is it gone? All right.
It says 5 slides proving Whiplash is a ripoff of Star Wars, particularly Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith.
I can't wait
right.
to see this.
Yeah. It's only 5 slides.
This is the first time Matt's leaned in for the entire conversation.
true.
He is leaned right into the screen right now.
This is something I put together before the last time we were supposed to get together, but only 3 of us showed up. So I wasn't going to, but after a little sauce, I did give the other guys a preview. But all right, as I was watching it, I have an affinity for Star Wars, and I couldn't help but see Star Wars in it. So here we go. All right, with the main characters, not only are they Andrew and Anakin, you have that they lose their mother. They believe that they're both destined to be the best at something and manipulated by a mentor. Classic setup, ripoff of Star Wars. The manipulative mentor, I mean, shot for shot, they're virtually the same guy. I mean, you can see it, you can hear it in their voice. Between manipulation and physical presence, it's all there. Even the lighting. The main character finds his power through the use of his tool. In this case, one case it's drumsticks, the other case it's lightsabers. But in both cases, a relentless need to be the best at what they do, to the point of obsession, driven, mania, I would even say, for both characters.
To be the best with the stick.
To be the best with the stick. The mentor prefers the use of mental force or manipulation. In all cases, I talked about the scene where he's got him pinned, not really pinned against the wall. I would like you to also see, I didn't make a slide about it or point it out in the slide, their transformation in color, how the main character goes from white and light colors throughout their progression into darker colors, blacks for both eventually. The use of a separate foil of an apprentice that gets cast aside for the new one. The callback to "I'm safe, I'm good," trying to get people to believe him. To the end when he throws out, Fletcher throws out, "I know it was you, fucker," to Palpatine showing his true power. I think at that case, that's when they both flipped the script and showed who they truly were, even though we knew it the whole time. So the last thing I'm going to use is numerology to prove my point, because it is one of the oldest sciences in the world.
This is outstanding.
Thank you.
It's like, yeah.
The titles both have 8 letters. Main character, protagonist, both start with A
Come
and have
on.
6 letters. The setting, the Schaefer Conservatory, 19 letters. A galaxy far away, 17 letters, but both prime numbers.
Jeez.
The antagonist, in both cases, they're a dick. They both have 5 letters.
Oh,
And, you know, there's a lot of actors in Whiplash, and there's a lot of actors in Star Wars. So, concludes my presentation of how Whiplash is a direct ripoff.
Man, that started so strong too.
Where did I lose you? Numerology?
No, I mean that slide in particular started
Yeah,
so
the
strong.
last couple
Yeah.
were pretty.
I couldn't just have 2.
can we get a numerology and how many beers you had while making it? Because the end
Yeah.
was a little sloppy.
Making this was 0. I
okay.
worked harder
All right.
on this than I worked on anything for anyone, work, school, family, in the last 3 years.
That's outstanding. That is outstanding.
Awesome.
Good job, Aaron.
Thank you. I put a lot into it. And I knew Tim was effing with me.
Oh, Dyad in the Force. Come
when
on,
he was
man.
throwing out Star Wars references for no reason.
If I wanted to make this about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's fantastic.
that's what I do.
All right.
I don't research things.
Sounds like we can put a bow on Whiplash. The next person picking the movie is Mike Wilden. Mike, what are we picking?
I am doubling down from last time. We're gonna watch Toy Story 3 because enough of you guys said that you had not seen that one, and I think I generally think we all enjoyed Toy Story, and you know, a lot of you said Toy Story 2, but enough of you said you hadn't seen Toy Story 3, and I think that's probably the best one.
forward to
At
it.
the very least, it's something you guys need to see. I also don't believe it's completely necessary to see 2 before you watch 3. There are some things you might need to know, but you can kind of fill in the gaps. Also, there's a big time jump because it's when Andy's in college and all that.
Oh.
So, so I still think it works as a sequel. So yeah, I'm doubling down Toy Story 3.
I'm going to make it a double feature. I'm going to watch Toy Story 3, and I'm going to watch Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. And
I would advise that you don't do that.
I'll get back to you guys on that.
Not where I thought you were
Yeah.
going with it.
No.
Yeah, not at all.
I'm going to watch Toy Story 2 and 3.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm on my own path here.
Well, yeah, and you can have that path.
Yeah, you can let me know how Winnie the Pooh was, because I'm not watching that.
Well, hopefully Hilty stays around long enough for he and I to be able to give you guys some insight on that.
That'll do it for this episode of the BTB Movie Club podcast. Thank you as always for listening. We know we enjoyed ourselves. We hope you did too. Have yourself a great week. We are partnered with the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.